Before satellites, before drones, before Google Earth painted our planet in pixels, there was only ink, parchment, and imagination. Maps are mirrors of civilization, reflections of what people believed the world to be, not just how it looked. From myth to measurement, humanity has always tried to bring order to chaos, to trace the shape of creation itself, because whoever draws the map defines the world. Across history, 10 extraordinary maps dared to see what others could not. The Babylonians etched the earth as a perfect circle, placing themselves at its heart, the first vision of a world capital. Ptolemy measured the heavens and mapped the unseen, outlining continents centuries before compasses existed. Al-Idrisi bridged cultures in ink, drawing a world where Islam and Christianity shared the same horizon. Korean scholars charted Africa before Europe even knew its shape, proving that knowledge travels further than ships. Norse explorers left whispers of a Vinland across the Atlantic, a land that would one day be called America. A Venetian monk traced the curve of Africa and dared to believe the oceans were one. A Portuguese spy smuggled the first true map of global empires, revealing Brazil's coastline to astonished eyes. Chinese scholars mapped continents they would never conquer, because understanding was its own kind of power. An Ottoman admiral drew the ice-free edges of Antarctica, leaving modern science speechless with possibility. And in a small German workshop, a printer named Waldseemüller wrote a single word: America. And the world's changed forever. From mythic circles to continental precision, from cosmic seas to measurable horizons. Each of these maps marks a step in humanity's awakening. They remind us that every age believed it had drawn the final world, until someone dared to imagine a new one. Because even when wrong, maps are acts of faith. And every line, every curve, every impossible island is proof of one truth. Before we found the world, we dreamed it first. Etched onto a small clay tablet more than 2,500 years ago, the Babylonian World Map is the oldest known attempt to draw the Earth. To modern eyes, it looks simple: a circle surrounded by a bitter river, with Babylon at its heart. But that circle represented everything humanity knew. To the Babylonians, Babylon was the world's center, not out of arrogance, but out of faith. Around it, 7 mysterious islands stretched into myth, symbolizing lands beyond human reach. That idea, a world centered around a capital of power, echoes through history. From Rome's claim as the Eternal City to Washington, D.C. and Beijing today, this ancient clay map defined how nations still imagine themselves as the heart of the world. In Alexandria, the scholar Claudius Ptolemy combined Greek mathematics with traveler accounts to create something revolutionary: Geographia, a system that mapped the world using latitude and longitude. Though drawn from incomplete data, Ptolemy's maps remarkably outlined India, Sri Lanka, and even hinted at a mysterious, unknown southern continent, what later explorers would call Antarctica. For over 1,000 years, his calculations guided explorers, astronomers, and philosophers. Renaissance cartographers rediscovered his work and used it to redraw the world, literally. Without Ptolemy, Columbus might never have sailed west, and modern geography might have started centuries later. Ptolemy didn't just map the world, he mapped the human desire to measure it. In the 12th century, a Christian king of Sicily commissioned a Muslim geographer to map the known world. The result was the Tabula Rogeriana, created by Al-Idrisi, one of the greatest scholars of the medieval Islamic world. What makes this map extraordinary isn't just its detail, it's its diplomacy. A Muslim scientist working in a Christian court, producing a map that united knowledge from Europe, Africa, and Asia. It's drawn upside down by modern standards, with south at the top, but its precision is astounding. It shows the Iberian Peninsula, the Arabian deserts, and even the Nile with remarkable accuracy. At a time when Europe still believed in dragons at the edge of the sea, Al-Idrisi's map looked strikingly modern. It was more than a geographical tool. It was a quiet statement of coexistence and curiosity. Created in Korea, the Kangnido map is one of the most remarkable cartographic achievements of the medieval world. Compiled from Chinese, Persian, and Islamic sources, it presented a vision of Earth that was astonishingly global for its time. Long before European explorers crossed oceans, Asian scholars had already drawn Africa, the Middle East, and large parts of Europe with surprising accuracy. China and Korea dominate the map, but they are surrounded by lands whose existence few Asians had ever seen firsthand. The Kangnido proves something profound. Before the Age of Discovery, Asia already had a global imagination. They didn't need to discover the world, they had already drawn it. When this mysterious parchment surfaced in the 1950s, it stunned historians. The Vinland map appeared to show part of North America, Vinland, the land of wine, centuries before Columbus reached the New World. If authentic, it would confirm what Viking sagas long claimed, that Norse explorers reached the American coast around the year 1000. For decades, scholars argued over it. Chemical tests suggested the ink was modern. Others swore it ancient. The debate remains unresolved. But the power of the Vinland map isn't in its accuracy, it's in its myth. It reminds us that history often forgets its explorers, and that discovery may have happened many times before the textbooks say it did. In Venice, a monk named Fra Mauro spent years compiling reports from sailors, merchants, and travelers into one grand vision of the world. The result was breathtaking. The Fra Mauro map accurately depicted the shape of Africa, including the possibility of circumnavigating it, nearly half a century before Vasco da Gama would prove it. It showed the Indian Ocean as a connected body of water, not a dead end. It was also a philosophical masterpiece. Fra Mauro filled the edges with notes and warnings, blending science with faith. Do not trust hearsay. Measure what you can, but believe in God's mystery. It was the last great medieval map, and the first truly modern one. The Cantino Planisphere was born from espionage. A Portuguese agent named Alberto Cantino smuggled it from Lisbon to Italy, revealing the secret discoveries of Portugal's global empire. Drawn just after Columbus's voyages, it's one of the first maps to show both the Old and New Worlds. You can see the bulge of Brazil curving along the Atlantic, the coasts of Africa traced in detail, and hints of India reaching east. It wasn't just a map, it was a power move. Whoever had the newest maps had the world. Empires were being drawn not just with ships, but with ink. Before Europe's discovery of the world, the Ming Dynasty had already mapped it. The Ming Hun Yi Tu, or Great Ming Amalgamated Map, was a massive wall map that blended Chinese, Islamic, and Central Asian geography into a single world view. Created in 1389, it stretched from Africa to Japan, showing the African continent in recognizable shape, long before European explorers mapped it in detail. Arabia, India, and Europe all appear with startling accuracy. It was less a chart for sailors than a statement of China's worldview. We see the world, even if we never need to conquer it. In its quiet confidence, the Ming Hun Yi Tu captures an empire that measured power not by expansion, but by understanding. Few maps have sparked as much wonder or conspiracy as the Piri Reis map. Drawn by an Ottoman admiral and scholar, Piri Reis, this 1513 chart compiled over 20 older maps, some dating back to ancient Greece. It shows parts of South America in astonishing detail, and, most mysteriously, what appears to be an ice-free Antarctic coastline, centuries before its discovery. How did he know? Some suggest he used lost maps from ancient seafarers, perhaps even from the Library of Alexandria. Others believe it's a coincidence, but one thing is certain: this map reminds us that knowledge is rarely linear. Sometimes, civilizations forget what they once knew and rediscover it all over again. The Waldseemüller map may look unassuming, but it carries one of the most important words in history: America. Created in Germany in 1507, it was the first map to label the newly discovered Western lands not as Asia, but as a separate continent, and to name it after explorer Amerigo Vespucci. In that single act of labeling, Waldseemüller didn't just describe the world, he created one. Once something is named, it becomes real. That's the power of maps. To take the unknown and make it exist through language and lines. The Waldseemüller map is the birth certificate of the modern Western Hemisphere. The moment imagination turned into reality. The world wasn't discovered once, it was rediscovered over and over, through ink, wonder, and imagination. Every ancient map is a love letter to human curiosity. They remind us that even in the absence of satellites, equations, or certainty, people dared to draw the infinite. When we look at them today, fragile parchment, faded lines, cryptic notes, we aren't just looking at old geography. We're looking at how the human mind saw the cosmos, centuries before anyone could see the globe. Because every map, ancient or modern, carries the same unspoken message. This is where we are. This is who we are. And somewhere beyond this line, there is still more to find.